आपादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणाम् आकृतिं स्मरेतेन विघ्नप्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ते च मनोरथः लक्ष्मीं तनोतु नितरामपेक्षम् अङ्घ्रिद्वयं निगमशाक्षिकाप्रवालं हैरम्बमम्बुरडम्बरचौर्यनिघ्नविघ्नादिभेदशत्रुधारदुरन्तरानः हरि ओम् सर्वेषां स्वागतम्. So this is the positive psychology section of seventh shloka. Adau swavarnashrama varnitah kriyaha kritva samasadita shuddha manasah. So the two keywords that give us any attention of any element of positive psychology is one is engagement. Engagement is a very important topic that we learn when we understand the PERMA model. There is something called as the PERMA model. I think I've already mentioned a person named Martin Seligman. He was the one who gave this particular model. So it involves 5 elements. One is positive emotions. Next one is engagement. Next one is relationships, meaning, and then accomplishments. So this engagement is extremely important. That is the right way of engaging in a particular act. That is what is engagement over here. So in the verse, we see that Rama specifically says that we need to engage in the Purva Varna Ashrama Kriyas or Varnashrama Varnita Kriya, whatever has been explained in the Varna and Ashrama. In the previous Samskara video, it has been clearly said what Varna is, what an Ashrama is, and how it is connected to whatever task we are doing. So how our participation in the society and how the activities are related, etc., etc. So engagement in them becomes extremely important. One is that to completely immerse ourselves in that particular task. That is not it is not a half-hearted effort. We need to completely involve in that particular effort. So when I'm learning, I'm learning. When I'm building a livelihood, I'm building a livelihood. When I'm detaching from it, I am detaching from it. Then when I'm practicing complete renunciation, I'm doing that. So engagement is just before flow, where we have physically, flow is a state where we have given up our conscience of physical presence and is completely into doing some task. Engagement is before that, where we are completely involved physically in a particular act. So engagement also involves us to make sure that we get involved in the task in a certain way that is described, what they are described. Like even in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the 17th chapter, Krishna also specifically says involving in Ashastra leads to Dambhahankara. Ashastra vihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapojanaha Dambhahankara sayuktaha kamaragabalanvitaha. So there are certain things that we are going to engage in, and that must be done as instructed. Innovation is there, but that innovation must not lead to a complete defilement of the Shastras. So whatever has been given must be indulged in that way. Usually when we are setting for a puja or any patience to go through all the kriyas. So what we do, we we want to do it because namesake, we want to make sure that we have done it. So we grace through them. We don't look at the meaning of the verses. We don't try to look at what the verses are instructing us. We just chant it, and then we just go through them. So this is not active engagement. Engagement is when we completely physically make an effort to stick to fulfill whatever is the activity that has been given to us. That is an important part of invoking a positive personality because that gives a sense of achievement. And this engagement, it is something that can lead to a state of flow. So we have to, it is something that an individual can get engrossed with or absorbed in. So if there is no active participation, physical participation, it doesn't lead to flow. So this is the uh, initial, or it is the preface of that state of flow. So if I don't, when we talk about Ashtanga Yoga, we have the last three. That is, they fall into a separate category: internal yoga, Antaranga. So there, if we don't indulge in dhyana and dharana, it is not possible to reach the state of samadhi. So dhyana and dharana, one, we are focusing on one particular object, and why we are thinking, why are we focusing on one particular object? It obviously builds your focus. If we skip that part and then we say that I'm going to reach a state of samadhi just by not doing it, then I'm skipping the initial steps. That is not possible. So engagement comes before flow, and engagement needs to be taken up. Therefore, even in that particular sense of the attaining the purusharthas, before we go on to moksha, we should understand that why samsara is problematic. Not just because somebody is saying it, not just because somebody says samsara um, um, is ghora, or is troublesome, or is there are different explanations. Somebody explains it has to be a quicksand, it never lets you go, etc., etc. We are stuck in that wheel. So that particular understanding or statement of the scriptures, it should not be taken at word, it should be taken at experience. If we do not go by experience and only take it from that particular scripture, whatever the scripture dictates, if we take that, then what would happen is our intention, or the intent to detach from the samsara to attain moksha, that will not find force. It would not be as strong. We will not be as resolute in our intent to achieve moksha. Therefore, we must first experience what samsara offers. That's the reason engagement is extremely important. So, this is one concept where, by indulging in uh, whatever the samsara has to offer, by indulging in that, we are finding some happiness, we are finding respite. And then after that, we have disengagement also. Disengagement, why? Because we are ultimately, we are experiencing positivity by engagement, but in that, we also understand what our negative traits are. It also gives to certain kind of pravrittis, that is attachment to certain things. I can't do it without that. I cannot travel without a car. I cannot. I cannot travel without a car. I cannot. Um, I need a certain kind of food. I can only eat food if when it is made in a certain way, etc., etc., etc. All those qualms and all those hissy fits, all those indulgences, all those addictions, those kind of things, we it gives rise to a person who has never smoked cannot be a chain smoker. So it is a bad thing. It helps, it hurts his health, but he has been addicted to it. And that is because he engaged in it. Now he has to actively disengage from it. So disengagement here refers to whatever is the pravritti that arises from engagement, we have to disengage from it. Because we had a need for engagement, I had previously said this, in a samsara, when we are a part of it, we have to indulge in it. We cannot say I'm not a part of the samsara. Otherwise, if you're not a part of the samsara, then you have to go and be a sannyas. So we cannot get away from samsara saying that I will partially do this and not do that. Whatever is required of us, whatever is expected of us, that has to be done. So after that, whatever is the pravrittis that arise out of that engagement, disengagement must happen. Disengagement from those activities that are creating a negative manifestation or creating a negative emotion. So engagement in samsara must be done to find positive emotion, positive personality, positive invocation, and then what disengagement must be done in such a way. That is the reason our scriptures prescribe the ashrama way of life, where it has been given, a roadmap has been given, saying that at this point of time you can start disengaging from vanaprasthashram. Until then, we have to engage. Disengagement from the negative aspects, from the desires, because what happens is it is not just overindulgence. Experience itself creates it. Experience itself creates a certain attachment to it. So, I taking the popular example of a chain smoker itself, when he starts smoking, he was not a chain smoker. He got addicted to it. Then disengagement was needed to break that cycle. After that, you can't say that, okay, now I have given up smoking, but I will have a cigarette, one or two cigarettes now and then. That is not possible. So the understanding is simply that when we have engagement, we are involving in it completely, and then we are gaining some positivity out of it. Disengagement is by disengaging from particular activities, we are getting positivity out of it. Disengagement from certain activities also give us positivity by reduction of negative impact. So that negative impact, when it gets reduced, when it comes down, we feel better. Like when I give up smoking altogether, then I have a better um, Shwashakosha, that is my lungs, they get purified. So in this way, disengagement and engagement are important. And that is what is shown in this verse also. So Rama says, first you engage in what the Varna Ashrama tell you to do. Then after doing it, we get a Shuddha Manasa. That means clarity of mind over here. After doing it, I understand what are the asterisk involving in samsara, in actively getting involved in samsara. I'm doing something and that leads to another cycle. I've started earning and I'm stuck in a job where the job has become more important than myself. The existence of self is extremely, it has been sidelined. There I know that now I need to get clarity. I need to achieve the clarity that now it's time for me to disengage. So, samasadita shuddha manasaha. Then, samapya tatpurvam upatta sadhanaha. Samapya, end it. There are two things. One, getting clarity that I need to disengage, and then involving in disengagement. Samapya tatpurvam. I need to end it. When I end it, then I become eligible to get a guru, to get Atmabodha. So engagement and disengagement is extremely important. Nothing is continuous, nothing will remain forever. So therefore, we need to understand that we need to engage in certain things, but also put an end to it. So this cycle has to be understood, and positive psychology engagement must be wholehearted. It should not be for the sake of someone else. It should be, if I'm doing a job, I cannot do the job for the sake of the job. I'm doing it because I want to do it. There is a wholehearted, complete immersion in that particular act. So, therefore, the engagement leads to flow. After I've experienced the flow, then understanding that it leads to certain pravrittis, there are negative outcomes also of a particular thing, then I need to disengage from it so that I can give up that particular act. This is the engagement and disengagement that we find are elements of positive psychology that has been told by Rama in the 7th verse of Sri Rama Gita. With this, we end this session. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि।